Good morning, everybody, and happy 4th of July. Welcome back to More Wealth Retirement Talk. I'm Dave Moore, alongside with Shawna Moore and Jaclyn Gladhill. So today isn't just another Independence Day. Today, America turns 250. Now, that's a birthday we're celebrating, although every single one is worth celebrating. I personally think it's the most important holiday of the entire year. Whether you're listening on your way to a parade, firing up the grill, you might be heading to the lake, or getting ready for fireworks later tonight, thanks for spending a little bit of your holiday with us. Today, we're going to celebrate America's birthday with a little bit of history, a little bit of trivia, and a few stories you may not have heard before, and maybe even settle a debate or two. Somewhere along the way, we're going to connect it all back to something we spent a lot of time talking about, and that would be financial freedom. Trust me, it makes more sense than it sounds. But Shawna, why don't you tell us what we're getting into today?
Well, I think this is going to be fun, a fun one today, because we're not just talking about history, although that is a big focus, but we're going to look at why America was founded, some of the challenges that our founders faced, a few interesting facts that people may have forgotten since high school history class. I know I have. And then tie all of that into what financial independence can mean for families today. Because freedom isn't just something that we celebrate. It's something that many people spend their entire working lives trying to achieve.
I love it. Hey, Jaclyn, you ready for today's history lesson?
Only if there's not a test afterwards. You know, history was never my strong suit or my strong subject. I remember enough to know that there was a Tea Party, right? George Washington was involved somehow with that. And I'm pretty sure there weren't fireworks back then either.
I don't think so.
Fireworks weren't necessarily the kind that we see today. But you know what, Jaclyn, that's a solid start. Let's fill the rest in together. But before we do, how's everyone's 4th of July weekend looking?
Yes, Jaclyn, how's your day going so far?
I don't have much planned. I feel like this heat that we are experiencing lately and the humidity is taking a toll on me. I'm like ready for bedtime by 10 p.m.
You need to
Hey,
find some water
same
somewhere.
here. You know, we've been in Tennessee, and this week we're out here, and it's been pretty warm and humid here too. So we feel you.
Yeah. How are you liking the humidity versus the dry heat in Arizona?
I personally prefer the humidity. I was just in Arizona last week, and it was dry and it was hotter, and I did not like it as much. But
I think you use the same strategies to avoid it.
Okay.
Number one, stay indoors.
Yes.
Don't do anything during the peaks of the day. If you have to do something outside, do it early in the morning, as early as you can. And, kind of hibernate. But, being 4th of July, that's impossible. You can't hibernate. You got to get out in it and have some fun.
The only other way around it is to get out either in a pool or on a boat in the river, something like that, on the lake.
Yes.
Which is perfect for 4th of July anyway.
Okay. I have a fun fact for you guys before we get started. Do you know what the 250-year anniversary is called?
I do not.
Okay, I'm gonna butcher this. Are you ready? Semi-quincentennial. That's
Semi-quincentennial.
Uh-huh.
So before we play off of that,
okay,
I know where he's going.
Does that mean it's the quincentennial is the 500th one, or is it the 300th one, or do we just like that it says Quinn in there?
I feel like it's got to be the 500.
I think she just likes that it says Quinn.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, but yeah, so centennial is 100.
Mm-hmm.
So,
bicentennial was 200.
Wait, by or is by half? Because if we're talking
it depends on the
quincentennial, that's got to be 500. So then
y'all lost me
of 500. See, this is my strong suit. History is not, but math is. Okay, so let me have this one.
Google it.
You have this one because I'm out of the loop.
You win, Jaclyn.
You win. Waving the flag.
Well, how are you guys? What are you guys doing this weekend?
Oh, just, you know what? Having a good time with family.
Friends.
Having a good time with friends, and finding fireworks. There's always fireworks.
Yes.
Fireworks, barbecue.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Just make sure
good eating,
you're safe.
being responsible, and definitely finding water. That's for sure. If we can, we'll spend the whole weekend in the water.
Yes, I love that. We'll just hope that we're not lobsters next week.
Well, yeah.
No promises.
The umbrellas.
Exactly.
The umbrellas over the pool works.
Yeah. I mean, we have a redhead and we have a blonde in this group.
Exactly.
So it's bound to happen.
It's going to happen.
Stay indoors.
All right. Well, let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome to More Wealth Retirement Talk, where finance meets fun.
Join financial expert Shawna Moore,
sports analogy pro and dad joke king Dave Moore,
and Jaclyn Gladhill, who keeps us all on track
as we break down retirement planning with insights,
laughs,
and a whole lot of more wisdom.
So since we're talking about America's 250th birthday, when you really stop and think about it, 250 years is pretty remarkable. I mean, none of us will ever celebrate another milestone quite like this in our lifetime.
Yeah, it really is. And I have to admit here, I started reading about some of the history before today's show. I know, me and history. And I realized how much I'd truly forgotten.
Well, you're not alone. I think most people remember, key names like George Washington and events like the Boston Tea Party. Here's another name, Paul Revere. It gets a little fuzzy after that.
That's true. Those are probably the only names I can think of off the top of my head. But what I do love is that once you start digging into the history, you realize that these weren't just names in a textbook. They were real people making incredibly difficult decisions that changed the course of history in the United States.
Yeah. So Dave and Shawna, give us a little history lesson here. What stands out to you most?
Let's talk about the Declaration of Independence. It wasn't just a ceremonial document. When the 56 men signed it, they were essentially declaring themselves traitors to the British crown. If the revolution failed, they could have lost everything. Businesses, homes, could have been imprisoned. A number of men lost family members during that war, so if you think about it, they just weren't signing a piece of paper. They were risking everything.
Everything. And that's truly amazing when you think about it. Today we see, copies hanging in the museums, but back then, that signature could have cost them their lives.
Yeah, exactly. There's another interesting fact. The average signer of the Declaration of Independence was only about 44 years old. The oldest being Ben Franklin. We all heard of that name. And one of the youngest, Thomas Lynch Jr., was, some people say it was 27, some 26, 6'7". Here we go. So this wasn't just one generation. It was people from different backgrounds and different stages of life who believed in the same vision.
Absolutely. And another fun fact that I learned is that the Declaration of Independence was primarily signed on August 2nd of 1776. Can you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And here's also something I didn't realize. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on July 4th.
Is that crazy?
Exactly 50 years after the Declaration of Independence. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Do you remember which one died first?
John?
So, no, Thomas Jefferson died first. He died a few hours before John Adams. As a matter of fact, John Adams' last words on his deathbed were, Thomas Jefferson still survives. He did not know that Thomas Jefferson had passed away a few hours earlier.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
that's crazy, isn't it?
That's crazy.
And I do believe there was another president who died on July 4th, not necessarily that day, but James Monroe, our fifth president, also died on July 4th.
Wow. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The odds for that.
Yep. Isn't it? Well, all of that history is pretty incredible. Although I think one fact everyone remembers, or at least jokes about, is taxes.
That's true. People do always bring up the Boston Tea Party, but the issue wasn't simply taxes like a lot of people probably think, but what it was about was taxation without representation. And so the colonists believed that they shouldn't be taxed by a government where they had no voice. And that became one of the driving forces behind the revolution.
which means for 250 years, Americans have had opinions about taxes. Some things never change.
That's very true. Taxes.
There's only two guarantees in this world, and that's taxes and death.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what really struck out to me while you both were talking was that none of those people had any guarantees that they were going to succeed.
Exactly. But they weren't investing in certainty. They were investing in a vision of what America could become. And honestly, I do think that that's a great parallel to retirement planning. No one can guarantee exactly what the markets will do or what inflation will look like or what tax laws will be 20 years from now. But you can build a thoughtful plan that's designed to weather those uncertainties.
That's really what people are looking for, isn't it? I mean, not certainty. They're looking for confidence.
Absolutely. People, they spend 30 or maybe 40 years working, saving, making sacrifices through all those years because they're working toward another kind of independence. They want freedom over their schedule, freedom over their time, freedom to travel, spend time with family. Maybe they want to volunteer or start that business they've always talked about, or simply wake up one morning and realize, hey, I get to decide what today looks like, and that's real financial freedom.
Yeah. And I love that, Shawna. People often think retirement is about having a certain dollar amount, but really it's about having those choices.
Exactly. I mean, freedom is the goal. Now, let's be honest. Money is simply the tool for sure, but freedom is the ultimate goal. One thing we hear all the time is, I just want to know that I'm going to be okay. That's what people are really asking. Not, can I beat the market? They're asking, can I live the life I've been working hard toward? Mm-hmm. And that's where retirement planning becomes different from investing.
It really does. One of the biggest misconceptions is that retirement is simply an investment problem. It really isn't. It really is an income problem. And I've been saying this for many years. Growth does not retire you. Income retires you. Eventually your paycheck stops. And now your investments have to create that paycheck for you. And that's why we build written retirement income plans, because we want people to know where every dollar of income is coming from, how taxes fit into the picture, unfortunately, but it's a factor, what happens during market volatility, and how all of these pieces work together.
Another thing I noticed reading about the founding fathers, they weren't just building something for themselves. They were building something they hope would last for generations.
Exactly. And that's, how we review retirement planning. We're not just trying to help someone get through the next year or two. We're building a plan that's designed to withstand market downturns, inflation, taxes, healthcare costs, but hopefully also at the same time, leave a legacy for the next generation. One of my favorite quotes is, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And that's retirement planning, planting trees today so that you and hopefully your family can enjoy the shade later.
I love that, Shawna. That's such a great way to look at it. It's future, it's legacy, it's all encompassing of who's protecting you.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of building something, today is a very exciting day for us. Another milestone today, Shawna, her brand new book comes out, launches today. Retire with More, the Retirement Income Blueprint. Shawna, congratulations.
Thank you.
I do have to ask though, Shawna, you already wrote one successful retirement book. So why another one?
Well, that's a great question. The first book, Retire with More, the holistic approach for a relaxed retirement, it introduced readers to my philosophy of retirement planning, how I take a holistic approach by looking at all the moving pieces working together rather than focusing only on investments. But this new book, The Retirement Income Blueprint, it takes the next step. So it's focused on one of the most important pieces of retirement planning, which is creating income. It walks readers through how to structure retirement income, how to coordinate multiple income sources, and build a written income blueprint designed to provide confidence and support the retirement that they've worked so hard to achieve. I wanted readers to feel like they're sitting beside me during one of our planning meetings, walking through the process step by step, because retirement isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about creating a reliable stream of income that helps you enjoy the life you spent decades building.
And I think that's what makes this book so different, Shawna. It's not just about telling people what retirement is. It's showing them how all the moving pieces fit together. So congratulations, Shawna. I know how much work went into this, and it's pretty special that it launches on America's 250th birthday. And, such a special day.
Thank you. Yep. A very special day for America.
If today's conversation has you thinking a little differently about your own retirement, we'd love to help.
Yes, we offer a complimentary Retire with More retirement review where we'll get to know you, learn about your goals, review where you are today, and help you understand what opportunities may be available to strengthen your retirement plan. So you can schedule your review by visiting morewealthtalk.com or give us a call at 833-4-MY-WEALTH. That's 833-469-9325. And if you'd like a copy of my new book, Retire with More, The Retirement Income Blueprint, it's officially available beginning today on Amazon, or you can give us a call for the first callers while supplies last. We'll be happy to send you a complimentary signed copy.
Do I get a signed copy?
No, you don't qualify.
I sure do.
Oh, well, how about me?
You do, Jaclyn.
Oh,
obviously you
I'll
do.
send you a copy.
Well, for our listeners, who wherever you're celebrating today, we hope you have a wonderful 4th of July with family, friends, celebrations. Stay safe. Please enjoy the cookouts and the fireworks, maybe a few drinks in there, and take a moment to appreciate what an incredible milestone this really is.
And maybe while you're celebrating America's freedom, you can take a minute to think about your own financial freedom. If retirement is getting closer, ask yourself one simple question. Do I have a written plan or just a portfolio?
From all of us at More Wealth Management, thank you for spending part of your holiday with us. Happy 250th birthday, America. Have a safe, happy, and blessed 4th of July, and we'll see you next time on More Wealth Retirement Talk.
Have a safe 4th, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to More Wealth Retirement Talk with Shawna,
Dave,
And Jaclyn.
We hope you enjoyed the mix of financial insight,
sports wisdom,
And a few dad jokes along the way.
Join us next week for more ways to plan smart,
laugh often,
and retire with confidence.
Advisory services are offered through More Wealth Partners, LLC, an investment advisory in the state of Tennessee. Insurance products and services are offered through More Wealth Management, LLC, an affiliated company.